Welcome back. In this video we're going to show you the A203 joist anchor bracket. So what do I mean by joist anchor? It's for anchoring your joist onto your beam and creating a super strong connection there. The purpose of this bracket is to stop your joists from moving, so you don't want them to slide along your joists. You want your joist spacing equal. You want to stop your joists from moving back and forth, and you also want to stop your joists from rolling over side to side. So let's have a look at the packaging. Once again, we've got the QR code that's on all our packaging. If you're ever on site and unsure about how to install something, scan the QR code and it'll take you to a video like this one. We have the image here showing how the item actually gets installed. We can see here we've got 25 of these joist anchors in the box. We've got our A401 screws that we'll talk about shortly. And you can see here I've got a bracket which I can show you. So you can see it's an asymmetric bracket, and we're going to talk to you very shortly about why it's asymmetric. So let's take a look at the A203 bracket and how it's installed. First of all, let's talk about why it even exists. So this is attaching your joists to your beams, so it stops your joist from moving along your beams. It also stops your joist from rolling over, and it also keeps your joist spaced out nice and evenly. So let's look at this mock-up here where we've got this joist profile sitting onto these beams. In this particular scenario, we've got an A120 profile. So this is a 2x2 or a 45mm by 45mm profile. I'm going to show you how I just simply put this over the lip of the channel there, and one on alternating sides. So I start on this side, I go to the next side, and then I go to the next side. That's all that's required for this profile. As soon as you go to any kind of joist profile that is a larger size than this, so that I'm talking the A130s, 140s, 150s, then you need to put joist anchors on both sides of the channel. So once again, you can see what that looks like here, and I just screw those off. So that is stopping this movement, and it's also stopping this movement, and it's stopping the joist from rolling over. Once again, one screw per bracket per hole there, and that is sufficient. Now let's talk about the scenario where you're going to use a beam on an angle to a joist. So the design of this bracket actually keeps the beam square to the joist, but in this scenario we actually want to have a beam on an angle to a joist. In that scenario, you actually flip the beam over. So you roll it over, and you can see now that I've got my beam on an angle to my joist. And if you were to use the joist anchor in the typical way, it would normally sit into the top channel of the beam, but because we've got it on an angle, that's not going to work. So we roll the joist over. Now we've got a flat section here. You can see the lines here in the top of the beam. And now this is where I actually use the other side of the joist anchor, and I put it down onto here, and you can see how I just line it up with the middle line on the top of the beam, and I put one screw through there, and then I'll put one screw here on this side as well. So you can see now I've got two joist anchors on that connection, and it makes it a super strong connection. Let's talk screws. This is the A401 screw. It's our most common screw. It comes in a box of 50, and it's included with all the Qwickbuild frame components in the box. So you get 20% extra screws, and you don't have to calculate these individually. It's already included with the components that you're purchasing. So it is a self-drilling screw. It is a 5/8 length for those of you that are using standard measurements, and a 16mm for those using metric. It's a 304 stainless steel screw with an electrophoresis coating, which means it takes it up to about a 316 in terms of its corrosion resistance. Now the head of the screw is a 3/8 hex head, and that just happens to fit perfectly in with the 3/8 driver that we provide. It's a one-handed operation, so you can use this and just drill it straight into the bracket. The other attributes around it is that it actually has a self-drilling tip on it, which means that you've got no pre-drilling required. The other attribute is that it's got a rubber shoulder washer, which is actually soft. Not that soft, but you can see my fingernail digging into it. But what that means is that it acts as a shoulder washer. It isolates the screw from the bracket, but it beds the screw really nicely into the profile when you're screwing it in. So that is the A401 self-drilling screw that comes with all the components. So in summary, you don't need to worry about how to calculate how many screws or brackets or components you need. The deck planner will calculate it for you.